This is a film to review the design for the rebuild and renovation of this farmhouse, seen here in better days. Or better days still. Note that at the original incarnation of this, there were only 4 columns across. There are now 5, and that will not change. In any case, while there's no build date, it is at least old enough to have, according to the records, been able to have been sold in 1899. So it's very old. Anyway, here's the interior, the existing floor plan, the existing framing that's been done inside. The 2x8, rough 2x8 joists run this way back and forth, and this is the new rear addition, including this garage addition here. And there are renovations that have taken place in here, including a beam that's been removed, or a wall that's been removed from in here somewhere. Below that, concrete foundation walls, more rough 2x8s at 24 inches on center. These are actually spanned too far for the spacing, but whether or not you address that is up to you. This is the section view through here showing the existing framing, and even though the county is not going to require us to bring this framing up to code, these are some solutions if a person was interested in such a thing. This at the joist under the second floor, it's really a pricey undertaking. You would have to add 2 2x8s, sistering, sandwiching each of those existing ones. It would be something like 52 2x8s to address that. So it's held for 100 years. I don't expect it's going to come down. These ceiling joists over the second floor are now 2x4s and are stretched 16 foot plus. I practically recommend almost that you add 2x8s to each one of those, so at least that ceiling isn't sagging, wanting to fall down. The county's not requiring it, so it's just been put in there for your information and consideration. But yes, the rafter spans are fine as long as these walls or some sort of support structures kept in place at that area. If you want to fix up these ceiling joists in the second floor, you would have to add 2x8s to each one, sister along each one. I don't think that you can even consider addressing this second floor system. I think we just leave that in place. As I said, it hasn't fallen for 100 years. I don't expect it's going to go anywhere now. This is the solution for where the wall was removed. 3 8-inch LVLs. That is to keep it a flush condition. You could use a couple 9 inches if you had it projecting down into this ceiling. So that's that area. And then in the basement, these joists down here, these 2x8s are also spanned too far, and this generally encounters a heavier loading at the first floor. So if you did want to stop some of that flex or address that, one solution would be to put under each joist, at the midpoint of each joist, put concrete blocks on the grade, level and smooth those, and put them on grade, and put a couple vertical treated 2x4s to the bottom of these joists, and then full pleated so they don't move around. And it looked to me like that is what was eventually, or what was once done, whether it was original or not. But you can see the struts underneath these existing first floor joists. So whether that's done is something, and there are other solutions as well, and they all involve doing something to support the midspan of those joists. Again, those joists have also gone 100 years without collapsing into the crawl space. So that's up to you. This brings us to the existing floor plan. This is all the framing is in place, as I said. This is where that beam would go in, the 3 2x8s or 3 8-inch LVLs. Not much had to be done in here in terms of the framing to accomplish a decent floor plan. Notably, this wall, I'm not sure why it was placed here. and if there's a specific reason that can be adjusted back, but for now I've enlarged the kitchen by bringing this down in line with this here. Then this becomes the living area. But otherwise, this wall I left in place, these I leave in place. This has some flexibility as to whether that moves, and that one I've moved away because I wasn't sure how that was playing into whatever plan existed. At the second floor, these walls all stay in place. This one, this one, this one. These ones come out. All of these come out, including this. I'm not sure what was planned here, if a plenum is needed, and that could actually still be worked into the plan, into the newer plans. But for now, in my plan, I've taken that out. This one's out. It just gets moved forward. We don't. It'd be nice to have that kind of luxury space, but we need the space more for other things. So that wall comes forward some. And that brings us to the existing house, what it actually looks like right now. Wood siding under aluminum siding, some new stuff here and there. This is the new framed porch with treated lumber. And so this is the resulting model of the existing structure. Windows are in place where they're in place now, including this one that's framed too low for the roof, and with door openings, etc. Alright, so in terms of the redesign or the rebuild of the exterior, I started with reviewing the exterior. In this film, we'll start with reviewing the exterior before we move to the interior floor plans. Outside, first of all, I put in the siding and roofing. This roofing probably isn't dark enough yet. I don't think I had it right yet. But essentially, you're going to have black roof and gray siding. It's not too late if you wanted to. If you were not satisfied with any of those, I can plug in any of the colors really for you to have a look. But I began this exterior situation with this with these windows first of all, and I just ran through some alternatives on what we were going to do there in terms of whether they had lights or anything like that. We finally settled on all three of these windows being 36 inches wide, no grills, and this arrived me to the porch, and here I had those columns painted. This was one of the original plans. I don't think that treated lumber is going to hold paint very well, so this review I'm recommending you just use a half-inch vinyl column cladding on these, sleeves on these, some other commercially available railing enclosure. The porch does require, in spite of the fact that, as you saw originally, there was no railing at the front porch back in 2000. This is over 30 inches from here to here. If you wanted to build that grade up and you really didn't want railings, you could build this grade up and you wouldn't require them, or at least you wouldn't require them at 36 inches high. The stairs, regardless though of 4 or more risers, and this one has 5, are going to require a handrail. So, as I said, for simplicity and the fact that I don't think this treated lumber is going to hold paint very well, I'm recommending you use, some product. This is variety. They have a variety of railings, and this is all vinyl. The balusters can be square, or they do have them in colonial as well if you want that turned baluster look, in the various handrail situations. I don't know how the pricing works out on these. I would think this simple one is the least expensive. For this review, I've just used Pro Rail with square balusters. And so we put those half-inch column claddings on and the sleeves on these posts. Add the posts where they're necessary. I actually have moved these. I've had to move this post in order for its cap to clear the siding, particularly since we have to fur that siding out an inch. So that column, it just goes down into the framing, it doesn't go into the ground. That one needs to move out some this way, and as a result, just to even it up, this one should probably move some as well. Additionally, where they had this column or this post, it wasn't going to allow me to use that railing on the stair in any effective way, so I also relocated that one this way a little bit so that the new one can come down on this. So this is and that it has to be at 36 inches to the top of the rail. There's no way around that unless you reduce this height from here to less than 30. But this is showing 36-inch rail, and these are just vinyl trim pieces that go around this column cladding, vinyl caps, vinyl pieces down here at the floor as well. And then you need a handrail down the stairs. You'll need some sort of enclosure under here. What you use there is up to you, whether it's lattice or I'm showing vertical 5/4 by 6, but whether it's lattice or some other vinyl product is up to you as well. And this last one adds, the corner pieces here, the corner boards at the house. Backing out some now to look at the larger structure. There are no windows in the garage. Perhaps the door to the garage. Frankly, you might be able to just reuse this one, since this is going to be replaced with a 15 light door or something with more glass in it. You might be able to use that at the rear of the garage, and that would get some light into the garage, but there are otherwise no windows or anything to bring natural light in there. So if it's doable, I'd recommend that the garage door have some lights in it to get light into that garage. But this was how it looked. I'm showing grills in the windows, but that's not the case, so we'll get rid of those. Probably it's not bad to have some sort of, whether or not you do shutters or not is entirely up to you. But whether you probably should have a vent up here. It doesn't have to be round. It can be rectangular. Just get with me on what size you think that ought to be. In any case, hoping you please don't use an octagon at that location. And then the downspouts where I think they'll probably be needed. This gutter up here, I would run this as 6-inch. Maybe these lower gutters can be 5-inch K-style gutter. These upper ones probably ought to be 6. And keep in mind that because of the way that that framing is a square cut end, so you'll need little gutter wedges to keep that gutter level. And so change out that front door to the 15 light. I show these downspouts coming on the side of the column here and on the side of the column there. Maybe the gutter people say you only need one downspout. I don't think it can come on the face of the column. I don't think there's a space between the edge of these stairs. So I have it coming out on the side and doing that on both sides. But with the new 15 light door in here, maybe that's too much white. Again, that's up to you. And here it is from the other side. Notice I've used those 3 windows that we salvaged from here, and the rear bedroom. If those are all the same size, I show those as a nice big window unit here in the dining room, looking out at this nice land out here. Alright, and that arrives us to the rear facade and the rear treatment. The original plans called for a 10 by 12 deck. That's what's shown here. It's 10 out and 12 wide. I think probably it seems a little small for the size of the house. I think to extend that over to the corner, it's another couple of joists, I think it's about another 25 square feet of decking material, etc. But I think you'd be well served to just pick up that extra 2.5 feet or so and bring that all the way to the corner of the house. At least you can look around the corner then. For what it's worth, this appears to be only about 28 inches off the ground. If that's the case, technically you don't need guards or railings up here at all, nor down the steps. It's only 3, I think it's 3, I don't know. You might need them down the steps. In any case, if that is less than 30 and you want to make these railings, you probably still want railings, but you can make those, you don't have to have those all the way up at 36. And this is so nice back here, I'd be tempted to use cable railing or something like that, or something that would keep it as open as possible. But for now, I'm just showing the simplest treated lumber square balusters and lumber rails, and then adding on the things that I did out front already, the gutters and the downspouts in the corners, the egress window at the second floor. And this is what it is from the overview from this angle, and the vent at the attic. Alright, I think that it covers the exterior and some of the structural issues, and arrives us to the point where we can begin a review of the interior floor plans at the first and second floor. But since the film is already 15 minutes long, I'm just going to end this one here and do the interior floor plans in a second film.